Last time you left us striking out into the Adriatic Sea bound for Italy. Join us now to complete our first voyage of the season as the conditions deteriorate unexpectedly. This is Intrepid Bear, a 40-foot sailboat off to explore the world with her crew Ian and Kate.
Come aboard and let's see what's out there.
Pilot station 0830 local time.
How long are we going to be at sea now? Currently on this will be, going back to...
Well, it's the 27th today, and that says we're going to arrive early hours of the 30th or late on the 29th, but it's very variable at the moment. The wind's all over the place. We had good wind just now.
So what do you want to say about shifts then?
Could be out here for a few days, as you said. So it's 7 o'clock now, so we'll just go into the normal 4-hour ones. But I'll just take this extra first hour. So you're off now until midday, and then I'll be midday till 4. I'll be off midday till 4.
Okay.
Then we got the dog watches, then I'll be on, what's the one, 8 or midnight on it?
New on Intrepid Bear for the 2023 season is an experimental intercom to allow us to sleep in our aft cabin when off watch. It is in fact just a cheap doorbell intercom from Amazon.
Hello.
This is the staff announcement, clearly up in aisle 5. It works then. You have a good sleep, baby.
Alright, love you.
Love you too, bye.
To be honest, the intercom feature will be rarely used as the doorbell will only be used for immediate problems. In most scenarios, we will wake the other more gently to prevent cardiac arrest when the alarm goes off.
So we're sailing now. We're sailing at 4 knots, but we're so far off course that our velocity made good. So remember, that is the actual progress towards the waypoint. Velocity made good's only 1.5 knots, so it's going to take like 3 days to get to the heel of Italy. So what I'm going to try and do is sail off on the other angle, because the wind seems to be going like slightly northeast at the moment. So I'm going to come round so that I'll put the wind at the same angle behind us on the other side, and see what that does to our VNG. So I'll flip the boat around, and like I say, it may not make a difference because we'll be quite far around the other side and still not heading exactly for Italy, but it might help. We'll have a look. There we go, look at that. That has made a huge difference. So our VMG now is 4.8, much more towards the waypoint. We just swung across the wind the other way, so that was a good move. I didn't realise it would work out that well. The wind's picking up a bit as well. So we're doing 5 knots over the ground, 4.7 towards the waypoint. That'll do. So sailing quite well. I'll be honest, I'm not loving the motion of the ocean at the moment. It's not bad, but it's just a little bobbly motion, and I think having not been at sea for a while, it's taken a bit of getting used to. But not feeling great out here. I had a tablet. Hopefully that will kick in soon, and also the sea's meant to flatten down as the day goes on. So that's what I'm relying on. But you know, we're sailing quite nicely, so I mustn't grumble. So I'll say the wind's blowing way more than it's forecast, and the sea's picking up too, but it's coming off of the land. So I'm quite surprised we've got this much swell not that far from land. But what I'm doing now is I'm going closer to the wind, and we're going to get ourselves, going closer to the wind, and we're going to get ourselves closer to the land. Hopefully we'll pick up a bit more shelter from the waves. I don't mind if the wind keeps blowing, but we could do with less waves, so that's the plan at the moment. Of all the things we were expecting, wind on the nose or wind forward of the beam was not one of them. Thought it was going to be dead downwind. It just really goes to show that the forecasts, yeah, very, very broad brush, and any chance of them relating to reality is fairly slim. Anyway, it's flattened down now. We're no longer heading for the coast, we've turned back out and we're actually heading straight, almost due south, which is our course for where we want to go, and to Italy. And we're doing about 4 knots. And it's flattened down a bit. I might pick up again when we get further out. It's just all over the place. But we're sailing. 4 knots, no engine. I'll take that. Oh, I'm feeling better now as well. Had a tablet, had something to eat. Very, very tired because the tablets, I think, give you a bit of drowsiness. So I've got an hour and a quarter to my off watch, and I'm excited for Kate to come up and I will go and sleep.
Back out at sea. Ian's gone off watch now. He was absolutely exhausted, and I feel for him because it was a rough start to the passage, and now it's settled down into slow but steady and quite nice. Back in the big blue, and I was quite anxious this morning, I don't mind saying. The knot wasn't so bad in my stomach yesterday as I thought it might be, but this morning when we got up and I could hear the wind howling and it was dark, I felt quite sick, physically sick. I thought of going to sea. It was quite good because it meant I had no chance to feel sad about all the people that we were leaving, although I still feel a bit emotional about it when I think about it now, but I've had a chance to kind of get over the first couple of hours of just being busy and it being dark and not having a chance to think about it, so I didn't cry when we left. I'm sad because we met some amazing people, you know, friends for life, you know, the best community. But the good thing is everyone's leaving at some point or another. Some left last week, quite a few leaving today, and others over the next couple of weeks. So it would be awful to stay. Wouldn't want to be the ones left behind because it just wouldn't be the same with other people. So it's time to move on. We will see those people around the world, I have no doubt. And yeah, it's been a long time in one country, but the upside is we've made some amazing friends, had amazing times. So yeah, now I'm back enjoying staying out in the big blue and the sun shining, and the promise of summer is on its way.
Thank you. So we had a bit of a situation where the autopilot kept seeming to round up every now and again. It would steer a bit too wildly one way or the other. So we tried to depower the mainsail a bit by lowering the traveller, tightening up on the kicker, and also we've reefed the headsail, so rolled that up a little bit to its number 2 reef position. And it still was doing it a little bit, but now what we've done is we've put the autopilot on wind pilot mode, and it seems to be a lot happier. I think possibly because the wind pilot mode anticipates the wind shifts a lot better, possibly.
After a little more research, we think we have actually pinned down the reason that it was happening. Let me try and explain. Okay, so here's what's happening. We were trying to get to a waypoint, which is our position we were heading for on Italy. We use this box here as our waypoint. As we're sailing along, the waves are pushing us sideways quite a bit. The boat kept rounding up quite significantly into the wind and then rounding up, and couldn't quite work out what that was. But once we put the boat into different autopilot modes, it stopped doing it. So we've got 3 main autopilot modes. The first one is called heading mode, where the boat will maintain its heading. So if we just imagine that straight ahead here is north, we press the autopilot button and we tell it to head north. The boat will keep heading north. With no other effects, the boat will arrive here. But with the wind pushing the boat could still be pointing north, but could be moving sideways. So she's still pointing north, but she's moving sideways, so you may miss your waypoint. Then there is the wind pilot mode, where she'll maintain a fixed angle to the wind. So if we take my hand as the wind, she'll stay on that angle as long as the wind does, but if the wind goes round, she'll come round as well, which can be useful if you're trying to keep as close to the wind or a fixed position to the wind and you know it's going to change. So again, you might miss your waypoint. Then the last mode is called track mode or navigation mode, and what it does there is it draws a line from where you are to the waypoint, and it is programmed to stay on that line, and most of the time that's absolutely fine. And what we think was happening, and having googled it and looked on various forums online, is because the boat was being pushed sideways by quite big waves, it is desperate to stay on this line, so it has rounded up to get back on the line, then it's pushed sideways, rounded up. So that's why that wasn't the perfect mode in those conditions, because of quite big waves pushing the boat sideways. She rounds up to get back on her line. So that's when we put her back on navigate mode, onto heading mode, point her at the waypoint. If she is being pushed sideways, then you have to just point her a bit higher so that your course over the ground goes towards the waypoint, but then she won't keep doing that rounding up thing. So I can't say 100%, but from my research, looking on forums, and it does make sense, it was on track mode and was trying desperately to stay on the line. But there you go, that's what we think was happening, and that's why she kept doing this business of rounding up into the wind. When you got the wind, particularly on one side like that, and it's a bit chilly like it still is at this time of year in the Med, then you put the sides down on the enclosure, and especially because the sails are out the other side because the wind's blowing this way, then you can still control the boat and you get a lot more shelter on that side, so you can stay there longer without being blown in the wind. This may look like a clever camera effect, but this is the view from a horizon leveling camera showing the motion of the boat. So I'm not actually cold yet, but I can feel it chilling down, and what you don't want to do is get cold when you've still got 4 hours of a watch to do. Well, maybe four and a half hours, because I let Kate go a bit early. So yeah, my watch hasn't even started yet. I feel it chilling down, so get togged up early rather than when you're already shivering cold, because once you're cold you ain't getting warm again. There we go, sun setting on day one. That's about 12 hours I suppose since we left this morning, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, a little bit longer. So on our way. Not the best start, but actually we settled in now. Kate's really tired. I was feeling a bit blur earlier, but I'm all right now and starting to enjoy it even. So bimbling along, sun is setting, and put the lights on shortly and dim the instruments and get ready for the night. I've already got my warm togs on, as you saw, and just settling in. Nothing much to say, it's just bimbling along. It's a bit lumpy. You can see, can't see much in the video, never shows it, but it is quite choppy, and now also the wind is dropping down, so the swell is kicking in a bit more. But hey, it's all good, bimbling along nicely. It's not an awful lot of traffic out here in the Adriatic. I'll show you in a second. We've got one big ship showing on AIS, and then another radar target who's not showing on AIS.
possibly a fishing boat. I can just about see a light. He's way off our port beam. We'll acquire him as a target, just make sure that he's not a threat to us. But if it's a fishing boat, he's probably not moving very fast. So the radar's calculated him doing about 6 knots, 165. That's like paralleling us or away from us. So he's no threat. And now he's, seems to be going the other way now, and it probably is a fishing boat. He's just circling round and round, doing his fishing bits.
When sailing on long passages, we log our position, speed and heading every 2 hours. This is just in case of a complete electronic failure. We would then be able to plot a rough position on a paper chart. Through the night, the conditions deteriorated significantly, leaving Kate unable to sleep on her off watch. So with us both feeling exhausted and having no need to push on regardless, we decided to take one of our bailout options.
So it's just gone 3 AM, it's about 10 past 3. Kate's gone to sleep. I've just come up off watch. Kate came up off watch early. She just didn't sleep at all. She hasn't slept at all from the noises of the boat and the motion. It's a bit lumpy out here. So we've diverted now. We're going to head into the port of Brindisi. Brindisi VTS. This is sailing vessel Intrepid Bear on channel 10 over.
Yes, right,
Brindisi VTS, sailing vessel Intrepid Bear. Good morning to you, sir. We are about an hour and a half outside of the harbour. We'd like to just come in and anchor to get out of the swell for a little while. Are you happy for small vessels to approach to the north of the harbour wall and avoid the TSS over?
The approach to Brindisi is controlled by a series of traffic separation schemes known as TSS. I was communicating with Brindisi VTS, Vessel Traffic Services, to attempt to establish whether they prefer small vessels to use the TSS or whether we could enter north of the TSS. In the event I could not make myself understood and we entered using a TSS lane. Fortunately, there was no other traffic around.
Ship is calling Brindisi VTS. Please spell the ship's name.
So there's a little bit of daylight creeping in after quite a long night. We're just approaching Brindisi harbour. It's still quite lumpy. We're bouncing around all over the place. I won't film Kate because she hasn't had any sleep at all, so she probably won't appreciate that.
No, I'm here.
Oh, she says she's here. It's pretty dark anyway, so you can't see. Oh,
Yeah.
You're on it. Bad night?
Bad night. Like a baptism of fire, back out there. No sleep, moldy seas. Hell of a shakedown.
So yeah, just coming into Brindisi in the traffic separation schemes. I know I'm just a silhouette now. We probably should be in a small boat channel, but it's difficult to find that information. I've just seen another boat go out the small boat, what probably is a small boat channel. There's no commercial traffic, we're just coming in the main lane and hopefully find somewhere to anchor. I have spoken to the Coast Guard and Brindisi VTS, but they didn't really understand me and I didn't really understand them. So just going to go in and see what I can find.
We hadn't been at sea that long in the grand scheme of things, but with the early morning departure and lack of sleep due to increasing wind and swell, we spent the rest of that day and night recovering, only to surface again the following morning.
So back out at anchor, back out with the tartan dressing gown first thing in the morning. So this is the outer harbour of Brindisi. We came in after a hell of a sail, and we didn't film as much as we could have done because it was pretty grim. It would have been grim at any time because it was just corkscrewy, but for our first sail of the season that was something else. But we dropped anchor in here. It's lovely and sheltered. There's a little bit of swell from the odd ferry like the one that's just going by, but it doesn't give us any major headaches. Quite happy with that, just a gentle rocking. Been here for about a day now, just recovering. Still flying our yellow Q flag because we haven't checked in yet. So while we don't go ashore, I don't think it's too much of a problem not to check in places like Italy. Don't try it in the Balkans. But we do need to go and try and find a way to check in later on. So we're just sort of getting ourselves settled. and then we'll go and try and find port police and people like that to stamp us into Italy and into the EU. Camera never shows the extent of it, and it has calmed down a bit now, but it's been really bobbling around all afternoon. Wind coming from the sort of southeast, so it's coming straight through the entrance. It's swinging around now, so it's settling down. I had hoped to do some video editing today and not sitting down below with this bouncing around going on, because soon feel a bit grim doing that. So but anyway, we've made a decision. We're going to go into the marina tomorrow. The marina is 50 euros a night, but you get the fourth night free. Okay, so we're all started up. Kate's put all the fenders down, we got the lines ready, tested the engine, tested the drive, dinghy's down, fenders are good to go, and the lines are good to go. We're going to head round into Brindisi Marina, and I think it's stern to in there with lazy lines, so we'll give them a shout on the way round, and hopefully they'll give us a berth allocation or wave us in or something like that. Marina di Brindisi, Marina di Brindisi, sailing vessel Intrepid there, over.
It is Marina di Brindisi, over.
Marina di Brindisi, sailing vessel Intrepid Bear. Ciao, good morning, sir. We have a berth booked for a few days. We are just outside the marina. Are we clear to enter, and where would you like us to go? Over.
Okay, mister. How many meters long your boat?
Marina di Brindisi, Intrepid Bear. We are 12 meters, 12 meters long. Over.
Okay, mister. The pontoon of Kilo Lima.
Kilo Lima pontoon received. See if we can find Kilo Lima pontoon. Hopefully there'll be somebody there. Fortunately, there was indeed a marinero waiting for us to guide us to our berth and assist with the lines. It was a wide open berth with very light winds, making it a relatively simple matter of reversing in. Lazy lines, aka ground lines, aka slime lines, are ropes which are attached to a mooring in front of the boat. They are retrieved from the pontoon but have to be dragged to the front of the boat and secured there to keep the boat pulled forward off the dock. Just go back and put this nudging here. Brindisi Marina seem to have an arrangement with the port police, who will attend the marina to complete the check-in process and stamp passports. It was a very simple process with a quick form to complete. Once that was done, we could lower the yellow Q flag and hoist the Italian courtesy ensign. We were now checked back into the EU and the 90-day Schengen clock was started. Please do join us next time when we wait out some grim weather before sailing on towards Sicily. Thank you for watching. Please do consider liking, commenting on or sharing the video, and subscribe to our channel, as this all helps with ad revenue to replace equipment. And a huge thank you to those who have signed up to our Patreon and helped us through Ko-fi. Every penny will go towards replacing and upgrading equipment.